This is your USMNT Abroad weekend update from January 2nd to January 4th of 2026. Oh my goodness. We've made it to 2026. I was about to say 2025, but time flies. It feels like yesterday we were still at the 2022 World Cup, and now we're 6 months away from the biggest World Cup in US men's national team history. Hello. If you're new here, I'm Filippo, and welcome to Tactical Manager TV. And welcome to the US Men's National Team Abroad series, where every single Monday we update you on how the Yanks did abroad over the weekend. I don't have much to say before we start, but I want to speak on behalf of myself, obviously, and Dustin, the producer of the channel. I want to say thank you to everyone here that has supported the channel up until now and hopefully going on into the World Cup, right, into the future. 2025 was an incredible year for the channel with many milestones that we've hit, and we hope that this year will be a big one as well. And honestly, it's all thanks to you, to your support. Even Spicy Jeff. Yes, even Spicy Jeff. And some of the MLS shows that hate the channel. It's thanks to them as well, because I know for a fact that they do watch almost every single episode. So before we start, don't forget to drop a like in this video. It helps us quite a bit. Let's try to hit 1,000 likes. And with that said, don't forget to comment down below who is your USMNT Abroad player of the weekend. I'll let you know mine at the end of the episode. So let's play the intro and let's start the weekend recap. Alright, let's go to Italy, a great country where somehow the entire population only eats carbs, drinks wine, and manages to stay fit. So we're going to go to Italy and talk about the Americans in the Serie A. The first one being Christian Pulisic from Milan. And on Friday, Pulisic started off the bench and was subbed in the 79th minute for Milan during their 1-0 win over Cagliari. I don't have much to say about his late minutes and how he played. He was fine. He hit a shot on target with his left foot, he looked sharp, and he helped Milan hold on to this 1-0 win. A crucial win, by the way, because they continue to be legit contenders to win the Scudetto this season. And Pulisic has been, I think, arguably their best player this season, or at least top 2, top 3. So why was he benched? Well, it was reported by Sky Sports that Christian Pulisic has been dealing with a discomfort in his hip flexor for several weeks, which explains why he hasn't been able to perform at full fitness. And I honestly can't really remember the last time Christian Pulisic was fully fit. Even though he rested this summer, they have been managing his minutes, and he's still dealing with a hip flexor issue. It's obviously a bit concerning, but isn't it crazy that he has been playing at this level while not being 100%? Actually, he's apparently not even close to 100%. Otherwise, Milan would not have benched him. Isn't it wild? Like, what numbers would Christian Pulisic be putting on the field if he was fully healthy, pain-free, training every single day, and playing most games? Because he has missed many games and he has come off the bench a few times because of injuries. I don't know. He would have been, maybe, actually, that might be what holds him back from being world class. Regardless, hopefully he takes it easy this semester and he comes into the World Cup 100%, which is what matters. Next up, we have Yunus Musa from Atalanta. And on Saturday, Musa started off the bench and was subbed in the 59th minute for Atalanta during their 1-0 win over Roma. And I caught the last 10 minutes of this game. I wasn't really expecting Musa to play, that's why I wasn't watching. Now, for those 10 minutes, I don't really remember him touching the ball more than once or twice. But the good news here is that he has played meaningful minutes over the past 4 games. He played 24 minutes against Cagliari, then a full 90 minutes versus Genoa, 45 minutes versus Inter Milan, and now 30 minutes against Roma. And honestly, that's not bad, considering he had only played 8 minutes total in the 8 games prior to this stretch. So we're finally seeing some progress with Musa and his move to Atalanta. Regardless, I still don't think he will make it to the 2026 World Cup roster, which is wild because he was one of our best players in 2022 when he was like 19. Next up, we have Weston Mckennie from Juventus. And on Saturday, Mckennie started and played 83 minutes for Juve during their 1-1 draw with Lecce in the Serie A. And I thought Mckennie was good once again. He was playing higher up the field and he was getting in dangerous positions. He had a great chance to score 15 minutes into the game in the box from very close range, or kind of close range, but it ended up being blocked by the defender of Lecce. He was combining well at times, playing his role. Juve wanted him to play in this specific game. He was playing central, essentially as an attacking midfielder, and in possession, he would kind of look like a shadow striker at times. And Weston McKennie actually scored this game. And despite the goal being from very close range, it was not an easy goal. He helped set up the assist by finding Yildiz down the left side. He essentially scored and got the hockey assist. Yildiz sent in a cross where I think he kind of was shooting on goal. I don't know. If you watch that goal, it wasn't a good cross from Yildiz, even though it found Weston McKennie. I think he was actually shooting on goal. It's just a poor shot on goal that looked like a cross. But Weston McKennie managed to settle the ball with a wonderful first touch and a wonderful finish, roughly 5 yards away from the goal. Again, great first touch and strong finish. That goal tied the game for Juventus, but unfortunately, Jonathan David wasted a penalty kick later in the game that could have given Juve the win. Jonathan David actually has 1 goal scored in the Serie A this season with 17 games played. And I know I'm covering Weston McKennie here and the Americans abroad, and technically Jonathan David does qualify as an American abroad, but I just wanted to say that for a center forward that they paid a lot of money to score 1 goal in 17 games, he's on fraud watch. Last but not least would have been Ben Cremaschi, right, in Parma. Last but not least in Italy. But he got 0 minutes this weekend. And I'm going to say this again. Ben Cremaschi is one of those players that I thought he would have benefited more if he stayed in MLS and found a team that would play him a lot. Because Inter Miami, his minutes were inconsistent. But he got this loan, this move to Parma, which, I don't know. It's just meh. It doesn't seem to be doing anything for him. Next up, we have the Americans that play in England in the English Premier League. The first one would have been Chris Richards from Crystal Palace, but he's still injured, recovering from the stitches that he got on his foot. He should be back next weekend. Tyler Adams is still not back for Bournemouth. He had that MCL injury, that knee injury, and he's not expected to be back till March, probably late March. So now, why don't we skip those two and talk about Anthony Robinson from Fulham. And on Sunday, A-Rob started and played the full 90 minutes for Fulham during their 2-2 draw with Liverpool. Robinson played as a left wing back, which on defense it looked like a back five, but he was playing as a wing back. And honestly, he was very good in my opinion. Defensively, he was as good as he was prior to his knee injury last season, actually. He was very fast, as always, great recovery, well positioned, good tackles, just great. On offense, he actually looked quite sharp as well. He got a few dangerous crosses here and there, and it could have easily ended this game with an assist. Mckennie and Aaronson scoring was a great way to start 2026, but Anthony Robinson performing like his old self versus Liverpool is the best US men's national team news we could have gotten to start 2026. It doesn't even look like he just recently got back from multiple months of injury of, I think he had 1 or 2 knee surgeries during that time. And considering our lack of depth at the left back position, his health and good form will be crucial if we want to have a good World Cup. And lucky for us, it looks like Robinson is back. It looks like he's healthy, fit, and good to go. Last but not least in England, we have Brenden Aaronson from Leeds. And on Sunday, Aaronson started and played 87 minutes for Leeds during their 1-1 draw with Manchester United. So Aaronson played better than he usually does. He actually has been better over the past 2 to 3 weeks. I still don't think he was great. His main contributions are always the same ones. Work rate, hustle. He also thrives when the game is chaotic. But in this game, he actually managed to make an impact. He scored for Leeds, a nice goal in my opinion. He took advantage of a poor defensive moment from Manchester United in a quick transition. The United defenders just kinda didn't feel like running. They were very slow to react, and Brenden Aaronson took advantage of that. Aaronson took a very nice first touch, and he got ahead of the defender and scored with his left foot. That was not an easy goal. Outside of that, he had an average game at best. He continues to struggle with the physicality of the Premier League, and his end product ain't great. He scored, but he continues to be ineffective in the final third for most of the game. Regardless, in my opinion, he should be in the US Men's National Team World Cup roster. He can and will be very useful during the World Cup. I also never get tired of saying this. I want to give Brenden Aaronson massive props for the mentality, right? Sure, he's not a perfect player and he does struggle at times in top leagues, but this guy never quits. He could have easily gone back to MLS, took a DP contract, a very fat check like his brother did, Paxton, but Aaronson stayed in Europe. Played in the Premier League, got relegated, played in the Bundesliga, went back to the second division of England, helped Leeds get promoted, struggled, got very much scrutinized by the Leeds fans, and he's still grinding, he's still fighting, and honestly right now, he's not a bad Premier League player. He's kind of an average Premier League player, and that is not bad at all for an American player. So massive props to Brenden Aaronson right there, and I hope he continues to grind it out in Europe, and I wish him the best. I wish him a successful career in Europe, which, to be fair, so far, at least this season, he's been okay. So after England, we usually talk about the Americans in the Bundesliga, but there were no Bundesliga games this weekend, so I got nothing to talk about those players specifically. However, we're in the January transfer window, right? The winter transfer window. And there has been an American that switched clubs in Germany. And his name is Cole Campbell, and he has reached an agreement to leave Borussia Dortmund on a loan with an option to buy. He's going to go to Hoffenheim. The loan fee is 1.5 million euros, and if the transfer becomes permanent, the total package of the deal will be worth around 10 million euros. So right now, Cole Campbell leaves Borussia Dortmund and goes to Hoffenheim. And yes, to me, he was one of our worst performers in the U20 World Cup, but this is a young player. This is a young prospect. I wish him the best. I hope he gets minutes at Hoffenheim. That's a very good team, so it won't be easy. But we'll be keeping track of Cole Campbell every single weekend. So not much more to add about the players in Germany. So you can drop a like in this video if you haven't already. Thank you very much for that. Do it right now. It takes a second. Let's quickly talk about the Americans in La Liga. And actually, there's only one player, and there's a coach too. So the player is Johnny Cardoso. The coach is Pellegrino Materazzo. One plays for Atletico Madrid, the other coaches Real Sociedad. And Atletico Madrid and Real Sociedad clashed over the weekend. And on Sunday, Johnny started off the bench and was subbed in the 60th minute for Atletico Madrid during their 1-1 draw with Real Sociedad. This was also Pellegrino Materazzo's first game in charge of Real Sociedad. He has officially become the first American coach to coach in La Liga, and honestly, that's a pretty good result. And Real Sociedad kind of outplayed Atletico Madrid throughout this game. Good start for Pellegrino Materazzo in charge of Real Sociedad. I am pretty sure one day he will coach the US Men's National Team. All right, next up we have the Americans that play in France in Ligue 1. The first two being Floating Balogun from Monaco and Terna Tessmann from Lyon because they clashed over the weekend. And on Saturday, Balogun started and played the full 90 minutes for Monaco during their 3-1 loss to Lyon. As for Terna Tessmann, he started off the bench and was subbed in the 66th minute for Lyon. At the time that he was subbed in, they were already up 2-1. And Tessmann was fine. He helped them get the win. And Lyon did play man up for the last 20 minutes or so, which helped. Like, the Monaco player got a red card roughly 5 minutes after Terna Tessmann was subbed in. As for Balogun, I actually thought he played well. Considering the fact that he got no help and no service, he was able to draw fouls, a total of 3. He had 2 shots that were blocked, and I felt like he was their best attacker throughout the game. Balogun also did manage to get the assist for Monaco's goal, and I said assist because it didn't feel like it was an intentional pass, but it was a legit assist. He was kind of fighting for the ball and trying to head towards goal in a clumsy way as he was fighting for it with the defender. He got the last touch before it landed with Koulibaly in a favorable situation to score. The same Koulibaly that would go on to get a red later in the game after he tried to decapitate the opponent. Yes, if you try to decapitate the opponent, you will get a red card. But jokes aside, he just went studs up at the guy's chest or neck. It was kind of insane, and he got a red card. But back to Balogun, he got the assist. It was an assist. Whether the pass was intentional or not, honestly, it probably wasn't, but it was a real assist. And I thought he played well. I thought he had a good game. Next up, we have Tim Weah from Olympique Marseille. And on Sunday, Weah started and played the full 90 minutes for Marseille during their 2-0 loss to Nantes. It was a terrible loss for Marseille, but they did manage to get 2 red cards throughout the game. So That's why they had this 2-0 loss. And last but not least, in France, we have Mckennie from Toulouse. And on Friday, Mckennie started and played the full 90 minutes for Toulouse during their 3-0 loss to Lens. This was a bad result, but just like Marseille, they decided to get red cards. Toulouse, right, decided to get red cards. They got a red card 20 minutes into the game. And Lens didn't really score until the 50th minute. It's kind of weird, right? Monaco with Balogun got a red. Olympique Marseille got 2 reds with Tim Weah, right? He didn't get a red. The Americans didn't get a red card, and then Toulouse also got a red and lost the game. So I guess only Lyon behaved this weekend. Next up would have been the Americans that play in the Netherlands in the Eredivisie, but there were no games this weekend, so we will not be covering it because there is nothing to cover, right? The Americans from PSV, Ricardo Pepi and Serginho Dest. So let's quickly go back to England so we can talk about the Americans from the EFL Championship, the second division of England. The first one being Josh Sargent from Norwich. And on Sunday, Sargent started and played the full 90 minutes for Norwich during their 2-0 loss to Stoke City. And I kid you not, these were Sargent's stats in this game. And please hear me out. In 90 minutes, look at what he did. He had 4 out of 5 accurate passes. Yes, you heard that right. In 90 minutes, he had a total of 5 passes attempted. He had 13 touches, 1 offsides, 0 defensive contributions, and he lost all 3 of his ground duels. Yes, those were his stats in 90 minutes. If you didn't tell me that he played 90 minutes and you gave me those stats, I would say he probably played like 10 to 15 minutes max. But that was throughout the entire game, which is depressing to say the least. Next up, we have Haji Wright from Coventry. And on Sunday, Haji Wright started off the bench and was subbed in the 67th minute for Coventry during their 3-2 loss to Birmingham City. He came off the bench because he was likely benched. He hasn't scored for Coventry over the past 14 games in the EFL Championship. The last time he did was on October 4th of 2025. So I think he actually did get benched. But I guess we'll see what Frank Lampard does in the next game. Maybe Haji Wright starts. But 14-game goal drought? That's pretty bad for a guy that's been playing as a center forward this season. Next up, we have Aidan Morris from Middlesbrough. And on Sunday, Aidan Morris started and played the full 90 minutes for Middlesbrough during their 4-0 win over Southampton. It was a strong performance from Aidan, highly involved in the midfield. He completed the most passes out of any players in the game. He also had 93 touches throughout it. And defensively, he was rock solid as always. Maybe he could have done a bit better in the final third, but overall, a very good performance from Aidan Morris. And last but not least, we have Ajiman from Derby County. And on Sunday, Ajiman started and played 60 minutes for Derby during their 2-1 loss to Wrexham. Now, Ajiman was nowhere near as bad as Josh Sargent, but he was not very good. The reason he wasn't as bad as Sargent was because he was much more involved in this game. But it was a trash performance, to say the least. Okay, if you made it this far in the video, hopefully you dropped a like already, and you let me know in the comment section down below, who's your USMNT Abroad player of the weekend? To me, it's Anthony Robinson. I know he got no goal contributions like Brendan Aaronson or Weston Mckennie, but to me, he was the best performer this weekend. Aaronson, I don't think he played a good game, despite the goal. And Mckennie was fine, but the goal doesn't change the overall performance into being as good as Jedi Robinson. So my USMNT Abroad player of the weekend is Anthony Robinson. Alright everyone, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like before you go, and that's all for today. We're back. 2026 has started, and we're gonna start ramping up the content quite a bit. It's the World Cup year, right? What else would we do? Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.